Hello, gay world. Hello, metal world. Today, my name is Lance Talbold, and I'm here with my husband, Alex Zapata, who is, I think, an expert. Actually, I call him a nerd on death metal, metal, black metal, grind, its various incarnations,
And a musician.
everything. And he is also an expert guitarist, and he sings metal. Yep, that Cookie Monster vocals and all that, which the people hate that sing death metal. They hate it to say Cookie Monster vocals, but there it is. So he started in about 1988, and the gay world was way different in the metal scene. And I'm going to ask Alex a series of questions here, and he's going to explain to you all what it was like being gay and being in the metal scene. I'm going to spin this camera around now, and we're going to start the questions. Here's Alex.
All right, now I got the camera. Hello, computer world. How's it going?
All right, your first question, Alex. How did you get into metal and when?
Okay, that's an interesting story. What's kind of a funny story. So, when I was about 11 or 12, I was trying to always listen to the most energetic, driving music I could. And with that said, the only thing that I knew to listen to was actually Motown and old school hip hop. I would actually, I had the Breaking, I don't know if anyone's seen the Breaking movie, but I had the soundtrack on cassette. And I would always fast forward to the last song on the cassette, which was a song by Ice-T. I don't remember the name of the song. And I listened to that song over and over and over again. Like, it was crazy. So I liked a lot of old school rap and hip hop. Ice-T, so that was one of them. Grandmaster Flash, Nucleus. That song Jam on It. That was another one. There was I think it was a compilation of some sort. And that song particularly, Jam on It, I'd always fast forward to that song. Anyways, I started getting tired of that, and I was like, I need some more energy in the music. So I sought out a radio station. It was called Kiss, and they had a specific night where they would play heavier music. It was a little bit heavier, and I would turn the volume down because my parents did not want me listening to this kind of music, and I was listening to more like rock and roll, as stuff from Ace Frehley, and that's the first one that I can remember. And I thought I was listening to really heavy music back then. Then a couple months later, this kid, his name was Paul, he found a tape on the bus, and I still have the tape to this day because it's how I got into all this stuff. He hands me this tape, and he's all like, "You need to listen to this tape if you think you're into crazy music, Alex." I'm like, no one listens to crazier music than me, no one.
And what tape was that?
I'm going to tell you. So he puts on the tape, and there's all this somber, like, classical music, which I hated at the time. I thought it was, like, depressing and goofy and stuff like that. I'm like, this is dumb, take it off. He's like, no, wait. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, what the hell is this, man? This is crazy. And then you hear this gritty vocals, and it sounded like the guy's throat was going to explode out of his throat was going to explode. It was Metallica. I never heard them at the time. And that was the heaviest band I heard at the time. It was the Master of Puppets album. The song was Battery. And after that, I just got heavier and heavier and heavier. By the time I was 13, I was already listening to bands like Possessed, Rigor Mortis, Dark Angel, of course, Slayer, still my favorite. And that's how I got into metal.
Okay. All right. Now let's move over to the homosexuality. How did the metal scene differ in terms of homosexuality at that time in 1988 from your first concert to today?
Okay, so that's a little bit later after I was getting into Metallica. 1988, my first concert was Slayer's South of Heaven tour with Slayer, Motorhead, and Overkill. Back then, it would probably have been dangerous. At least that's what I felt growing from in a small town in Texas, population 28,000. And you just didn't tell people you were gay. And actually at that time, I really didn't know just yet. It wasn't until later, I was about 15, I figured out I'm attracted to guys. And even still, that was by the time I was in Vegas. You didn't come out and say it. It wasn't something you did. I felt it could have been dangerous physically and socially. So it was just something that I kept away.
Okay. So since you came out as gay later in life, were you apprehensive about letting your metalhead peers know?
Yeah, the only person I told was much later, much later. It was a best friend of mine, and I believe he still lives in here in town. And I came out actually as bisexual, and he seemed not surprised at it. He seemed not surprised, and didn't seem like he cared too much. Much later, it really didn't even matter anymore because the gay community is so accepted by society. I mean, I talked to this one guy. He used to sing for a local death metal band here in town. The band's now defunct, as far as I know. But I ran into him at a show. It was the band's The Thomas, Dave Vincent's band, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, man? This is my husband, Lance." And it was just like nothing. I was impressed, actually.
Well, now, why do you think that you were so apprehensive about, or why is homosexuality something that is forbidden in the metal scene? Because the metalheads, they're pretty much a segregated group themselves.
Well, back in the day, it was more, I felt with the metalhead community, people were trying to live a certain image, and mine would have. It's kind of hypocritical on my part because I've always been a loner and outside of society, but yet at the same time, I felt like I would have been rejected. So I guess it's hypocrisy on my part.
So you think that even being an avid metal fan, it kept you from coming out sooner due to the fact of being rejected
Correct.
by the community, the
Correct.
metal community?
Correct.
Okay. So what or whom finally influenced you to let it be known you were gay?
That was my first gay boyfriend. He didn't directly influence me. It was an indirect. I remember it was a very short relationship. I'm not going to say how long, but I remember telling my parents, I'm moving to Canada. He said he was moving to Canada. I was going to go to Canada with this guy. Like, my parents were like, "Why are you going to Canada? Why are you going to?" I was like, "Fine. You want to know why I'm going to Canada?" I said, "I'm going to Canada to go live with my boyfriend." And they said, "What?" I said, "Yes." They said, "Who is this guy? Who is?" And I almost said the name. I pulled out a picture, and he was very He was very effeminate. And my mom looked at it and said, "Well, where's the guy?" I said, "That's him right there."
Okay. So did they end up supporting you?
Yeah, they did. They supported me wholeheartedly, but I was very nervous and defensive.
And did they also support your love of metal and metal music?
That took a longer time.
And why is that?
Well, okay. So, coming in from Texas, it's a very small town in Texas, and I have a Catholic upbringing. Everything was a bit closed-minded. And this sounds kind of funny, but I've been metal for a long time, and my parents knew it. And this is the funny part. The Geraldo special that came out, all the satanic crimes that were going on. I guess there was some good satanic crimes going on in the 80s too. My parents saw that special. I had close to 100 tapes. They were trashed. Every single tape was trashed. I think I maybe have one tape, and it's Creator Terrible Certainty left from that collection.
But they eventually supported your love of metal.
The
Since
support
didn't seem to be going away.
No, it took a long time. It took years and years and years, but I literally had to fight for it.
But now they're good with it. And
Yeah, now they're good with it.
now, aren't several metal band members openly gay? And who are they? And did they influence you in any way?
Well, first of all, they did not influence me, but the most well-known is Rob Halford of Judas Priest, lead singer of Judas Priest. He's been openly gay for quite some time. I felt he came out at a time where it would have been more comfortable during the 90s alternative movement. And of course, Gall, the black metal musician, vocalist, most well-known for Gorgoroth. And neither one of those influenced me at all.
Okay. So let's just get into this. What are your favorite bands in each of the metal genres you listen to?
Okay, with death metal, it's Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel, just all the old school death metal bands. It's Suffocation, Obituary, Entombed. There's a lot of new stuff that I'm getting into off Spotify. I'm blanking out off right now. More Six Monday, Necros Christos, Crypts, bands like that. Black metal. More into the Greek old school black metal, Verathron, Rotting Christ, Thou Art Lord. And thrash metal, your typical thrash metal. Of course, Slayer is my all-time favorite with Cannibal Corpse, Dark Angel, Violence, bands like that.
Okay. Well, what's your favorite genre of metal?
Absolutely, it's old school death metal.
Okay. Now that the LGBTQ community is so accepting, do you think has been so accepted, is what I meant to say? Do you think we'll see more musicians coming out?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's more comfortable. I mean, we went to a concert not too long ago, and there were some guys. It looked pretty obvious. I think it's going to be much more accepting and much more well-known guys coming out as gay, and musicians too. I think it'll be a little bit more difficult for the musicians, even still, but I think it's not too long.
When we went on the 70,000 tons of metal cruise this past year for our honeymoon, were you surprised to see an LGBTQ gathering and how many there were?
That didn't surprise me. It didn't surprise me, and actually, what did surprise me was the turnout. I thought it'd be more than that. I honestly did think there was going to be more than that. Not to sound negative or anything, but I was expecting more people.
So why do you think ultimately that the metal scene, they become so accepting of the gay community?
It's just an evolution. I believe it's human evolution. We're starting to look at people as people. I'm not gay. I'm not straight. I'm a person. It's accepting people.
That's great. I think that's a great way to end that. Thank you so much, Alex.
You're welcome.
All right.
Bye.